At you guys with a yet another Atlanta Falcons video. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Tell your friend to come chat Falcon football with your boy, NFL football with your boy, wrestling with your boy, whatever. All right. So there's some interesting things that are coming out, and I've been hearing it. I've been hearing a lot of stuff. It's been in and out, in and out. I haven't heard a lot. I wouldn't say I heard of a lot, but I don't know how true it is. Now, Kirk Cousins is obviously the topic at hand, but one of the things you look at the Atlanta Falcons and you see what's real and what isn't real. All right, a lot of people trying to figure out what is going on with Kirk Cousins. All right, what's going on with Kirk Cousins? Is he going to be the backup for the Atlanta Falcons for the most of the year? Because we haven't seen a lot of him at training camp. I say training camp, but OTAs. It's going to get the mini camp real soon. So I'm expecting at some point in time we see a change in that. That's going to be interesting in itself. And then you have Kirk Cousins. We are seeing things that is very interesting. Okay, minicamp, OTAs haven't seen, and like I said, a lot of people are trying to figure out what's going. But I saw something that I want to talk about real quick, and I'm gonna get to another thing that I want to talk about tonight. But this is very interesting. And I've been hearing this time and time again. Y'all hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you're new to the channel. If you are here, just hit that like button. It helps a great deal. But look, so D-Led put out a couple of scenarios that I thought was interesting. And like I said, I've been hearing more and more about this. So just want Falcons fans to be informed on this. All right. So he said, here are the Falcons options with Kirk Cousins ahead of mandatory minicamp. Demoted to backup quarterback last season, Kirk Cousins didn't appear at open OTAs. I don't think anybody's is surprised by that. But this is a scenario, and I keep hearing this time. I'm hearing whispers and whispers that this could quite possibly be something that is real. So, wow. The more that I think about it, it's more like, wow. I did not put too much into it, but now it just seemed more and more like with Aaron Rodgers signing with the Steelers. And then I heard a couple of people were saying that maybe Indianapolis is a team that could quite possibly look for a quarterback. But for me, even with that, I don't know if the Indianapolis coach will want to deal with the Atlanta Falcons with another quarterback or trading for another old quarterback. I mean, it wasn't terrible with Matt Ryan, but it wasn't great at all. I don't know how they see Kirk Cousins, if he would be a valuable asset, but this is something that D-Led is saying. So he said, what if Cousins, a full-time Pro Bowler who is set to turn 37 August 19th, were to retire? The Falcons would love for him to retire. Let me see who is this guy before but his name is Joel Corey. He said if he retires, they are entitled to get back the prorated amount of the signing bonus for 25, 26, and 27. And that's $37 million. Now, if you look at what I think there's two situations with that. Okay, that is really interesting. Is one, is Kirk Cousins really thinking about retiring? He's been in the league for quite some time, and to be honest, I don't know if he's if this is a situation where Kirk Cousins can solidify himself or try to get closer and closer to possibly being a Hall of Famer, I don't think that's a real thing. So, in my opinion, Kirk Cousins, this has to be real in his mind because he's made over $300 million as a quarterback in the NFL. Most quarterbacks don't even see that. Okay, most players don't even get close to that. And the fact that he has already got to the point where he's made over $300 million, and that's more than Tom Brady, like that says a lot. So, does he really have any more outside of winning a championship? Does he really have many things to play for? Does he have an MVP? Does he want to play long enough so he can be an MVP in the league? Look, chances are that's not going to happen, especially with so many positions right now in quarterback. I mean, we got teams like Cleveland right now. These dudes got like 3-4 young quarterback that they groom. And so quarterback is at a premium right now. They're not looking at a lot of these older guys. We got guys like Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston on the same team. So I don't think the value for quarterbacks is as big as it used to be. I think if you look at the Chiefs, you look at what the Eagles have done, both of these teams weren't super aggressive when it comes down to passing the ball. They make a lot of big time plays, passing the ball. Most of the season, they were just running the ball, they were using their offensive line and checking the ball down. You look at the Eagles, same thing. They weren't one of them teams that was super aggressive and throwing the ball. They relied on their offensive line. They relied on their running game and Saquon Barkley and those guys up front. So when you look at Kirk Cousins and you look at the options that he have around the league, it's really not too many. A lot of people thought it would quite possibly be the Steelers, being that Aaron Rodgers was up in the air as far as his commitment to the game and where he wanted to be and where he is mentally as a football player. They thought that would be, but like I said, with Cleveland, they thought Cleveland would be a destination, and that fell apart because they really wanted to issue a new, kind of a new era of Cleveland football, because obviously you have with the Deshaun Watson and that debacle, him being out for most of this year, and pretty much at some point they're going to cut ties with him. He's going to be gone. So there's a lot of things when you look at this situation. It's not a lot of options. It's not a lot of options out there for Kirk Cousins. So when I look at it, the possibility of Kirk Cousins being an Atlanta Falcons or retiring in this situation, I don't think it'll happen, but it's something to think about. It's something to think about. And I'll go over it again. And like I said, this is from D. Orlando Ledbetter from the Atlanta Falcons. A report for AJC. He said, what if Kirk Cousins, four-time Pro Bowler, is set to turn 37 in August, were to retire? All right. Joel Curry said, if he retires, they are entitled to get back the prorated amount of the signing bonus for 25, this upcoming season, 26 and 27, and that's $37 million. So the Atlanta Falcons could get, if Kirk Cousins decide that he has no desire to play football again, then this is something that the Atlanta Falcons could bet. So maybe Terry Fontenot, maybe Arthur Smith was saying, look, bro, you're going to have to be a backup quarterback. If you're not a backup quarterback for the team, then you got to be, it is what it is. So maybe they're trying to, force him to either retire. Maybe he retires for the year and come back and whatever the case, and the Falcons end up, trading him or whatnot. Like, I don't know, but if he does retire, that's something interesting to think about. So Y'all can throw some comments in there, some questions in there if you got anything you want to say. Kirk Cousins need to retire. He better make nice with the clipboard. Yeah, I think. Hey, Christian, how you doing? Is it $180 million should help? That's like I said, man. He's made a lot. He's made a lot of money, and I don't think, I don't think personally he can get any better or make a case for himself to make the Hall of Fame. Now he can make a case for him being one of the better quarterbacks in NFL, recent NFL history, like right now. But I don't think what could Kirk Cousins accomplish at this point in time. Honestly, it's just winning the Super Bowl. Like, we know what type of quarterback you are. You've been a quarterback that has been able to put up numbers, but winning playoff games, being clutch. You've been a quarterback and a player that is focused mainly on getting paid and getting these big time signing bonuses. That's what he's been. Is guaranteed money. That's what he's been. That's what most people. That's what most people look at and what they think about with Kirk Cousins when they see Kirk Cousins. So, man, there's a possibility that the Atlanta Falcons backup quarterback and Kirk Cousins could retire, and that opens the door for a guy like Easton Stick to at some point in time, I think he's going to make the team just because we don't know. And I think in the next month or so, we're going to know what the Atlanta Falcons and Kirk Cousins, where it is going. His only option is to be a backup if he doesn't retire. Yeah, what if he retires and then he can do that. I got to look up what happens, but I think with this, if he retires, then comes back and unretired, the Falcons get their money back. But I think they'll be in a better position in the future because you got these young guys like James Pierce, Walker, Xavier Watson, all these guys. They don't have to pay players at some point, but it still leaves up in the air a guy like Darnell Mooney being here, because what if the Falcons he retires and then they end up getting a team, the following year to pick up that option, and then they end up trading, not pick up the option, but pick up the money, be agreed to pay some of that money for the services of Kirk Cousins. That could quite possibly happen. But like I said, it's interesting to be in it. If he retires, what money look like? Would he be leaving on? That's that's $37 million if he retires. Falcon get $37 million of that guaranteed money if he decides to suit up, because it's predicated on him playing football. If you don't play football, you got to get that money back. So if he decides to retire, he's already got 20. I think he got 30 something million for 1 year. So if he decides to retire, he has to get that 37 million back to the Atlanta Falcons for the 25, 26, and 27 years. So he would have to spread that out over the 25, 26, and 27 years. That's why you got those voided years. So if things like this happen, where quarterbacks or players end up signing a long deal and they retire, well, that player doesn't have to give that money back all in 1 year. They can give the Falcons that money back after at the duration of that contract. So that's how that will work. But I will have to look into what if he retires and decides to come back. I'm assuming that if he retires, that the Falcons will have to pick up, or a team will have to pick up that contract based on when he comes back. And that's tricky because the Atlanta Falcons still have players that they may want at some point in time to sign for a long-term deal. The Kyle Pitts, the Tyler Algiers. At some point the Falcons going to have a draft. Maybe they got a guy, a cornerback in Kobe Bryant. We don't know. But at some point, you may want to sign Mike Hughes, depending on how big of a year that he has this particular year. Clark Phillips, still up in the air where he wants, where he's going to be at this point. But if he has a great year, that's another thing that you could keep in mind also. Sonia, hey girl, if he gets that money back, do you get to trade? Oh, look, I'm done with Ramsey. I would much rather just go young. Look, at some point, like having veteran players is all cool, but I think you should just let these young players prove something. Give them an opportunity. You can't develop a team if you constantly digging in the trash for old bones. Like I don't like it. Now it gotta be a player. For me, I would much rather do that with somebody who has a resume. And I just don't think Ramsey's one of those guys, like you just say, all right, he's a Hall of Famer without a doubt. I'll take a chance on the guy that has a Hall of Fame resume. I just think at some point you gotta stop digging in the trash, man. I think the Falcons and I'm not just saying the Falcons, there's a lot of teams. They love to dig in other people's trash. They love to dig in other people's trash. Sometimes you just gotta eat what you got. I don't know what the deal is with these older quarterbacks still trying to play and a high contract and get a high contract. My opinion, what do you think is realistic expectation for Rodgers with the Steelers? And I'm paid he won't play 17 games. As far as Aaron Rodgers is concerned, I think it's the perfect deal for him because the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to have a top defense. They're going to be ranked highly. They're going to be a good defense. So when you have Arthur Smith if you just look at Arthur Smith's offense, he liked to throw a lot of, mainly he likes to use a lot of play action. Mainly he likes to run the ball. Mainly he likes to use his offensive line. And that's something with Aaron Rodgers, like Aaron Rodgers is one of those guys, he's getting older, and I don't think at some point in time he's going to have one of them games where he's throwing 40, 50 times a game. He has that ability, but it's few and far between. So going to a team like the Pittsburgh Steelers, who's going to play hard-nosed defense, they're going to get at the quarterback, and a lot of their games are going to be slow, methodical type of games. So having a quarterback like Aaron Rodgers who has that ability at some point to throw 40 to 50 times a game, I think is far more suitable as far as his expectations is concerned, to think that he can have a game where he throw for 200 to 250. They play solid defense. They score 21 points and they win. So I don't think at this point in time, you look at Aaron Rodgers and with that Steelers, I don't think the Steelers are asking him to be this Aaron Rodgers of old. I think they're just asking him not to be a turnover machine, be a game manager for the most part, and let our defense carry the team. And that's what you getting from Aaron Rodgers, because he is incredibly smart. He does, he knows how to get the ball and connect with his receivers. That's what I know that he's good at. Now, all this other stuff in regards to how he is off the field, a locker room problem in regards to, some of the coaches he doesn't like, certain plays he doesn't like. I don't think that's going to be an issue because Pittsburgh Steelers is a different organization. They're not going to be they're not going to be boggled down by a single player. I don't think they're going to allow Aaron Rodgers to run them at this point because now you got Mike Tomlin. We know what his personality is. And Arthur Smith is the same type of guy, to be honest. He knows what he wants to do, and I don't think anybody would say that Arthur Smith is a pushover. He could be a jackass, a complete jackass, but I don't think anybody say he's a pushover. So I think it's the perfect. Honestly, I think it makes Steelers a sleeper for the contender because if you can get Aaron Rodgers to do the bare minimum, rely on the running game, rely on the defense to carry them, I think you have to watch out for. I think you have to watch out for the Steelers with Aaron Rodgers as a serious contender. But yeah, if you just allow him to just do the bare minimum and every 5 games or so, 4 games or so, you allow Aaron Rodgers to, throw the ball about 40, 50 times a game. I mean, I think he can do that, but consistently dropping back 40, 50 times, I think physically he's beyond that. If Kirk does retire, my opinion, they should save the money to keep this young core together, especially if we make a run at the playoffs and they make an impact. um, well, I'm gonna say this. Okay, this whole Julio Jones thing kind of got me in my feelings, to be honest, because I I personally believe that you should just build a team around a quarterback. I think we get in trouble when we start trying to play running backs, wide receivers, cornerbacks, and stuff like that. I think what really matters for teams is building the quarterback first and foremost. And we've seen it with San Francisco. Like San Francisco trying to play everybody. They're trying to play D-line, linebackers, like everybody getting a damn paycheck over there. And at some point, that shit is gonna come back to hunt you. We saw that with Julio Jones. And it's not just a Julio. We saw Julio got paid, Matt got paid. We gave money to the offensive line. We gave money to Grady Jarrett. Grady Jarrett got about $20 million, and we drafted a guy like Calvin Ridley and gave Devontae Freeman his money, and then that money ended up coming to hunt us at some point in time with a dead cap hit. So I don't necessarily think that the Falcons should keep the young core of players together. I think what they should do is focus on who is that guy on the defense, who is that guy on offense, and build a system of drafting, signing, and adding certain pieces to that core. Because if Michael Penix is that core, I can say to myself, I need 2 things: offensive line and I need receivers. So make sure that Michael Penix always have an offensive line, always have somebody in the trenches, somebody go down, you can plug in there, and a wide receiver. If the wide receiver gets over a set number in salary, so let's say if this wide receiver wants maximum money and the Falcons they only believe in giving a wide receiver $25 million in guaranteed for that particular year, or they believe in giving a wide receiver, $30 million in guaranteed. Stick with that number. If that wide receiver or that player wants to go over that number, ship him out, get draft picks, and just do the exact same thing each year. So I don't necessarily believe in keeping star players together. I believe you pick out who that guy's going to be, especially at quarterback. Figure out what you're going to be with that quarterback. Stick to that. Have a system, and then have a strict system a strict regimen on what you're going to pay these guys, because that's how you get in trouble when everybody starts thinking that I want top tight end money. I want top wide receiver numbers. I want top running back numbers. Everybody want top numbers. And paying Bijan top running back numbers. And you paying the wide receiver and Drake London, get him top wide receiver numbers, and then you paying the right guard and Chris London, get him top, and then you give everybody top. Before you know it, shit, you ain't got no money because everybody want top dollar. All right, shout out to top dollar. All right, that's a whole nother story. But everybody want top dollar. I do not believe in giving everybody top dollar, because not everybody in the offense, the defense, and the scheme, they are as important. So for me, for example, with Raheem Morris, I know like Raheem likes to play a lot of zone concepts at times. So he uses a lot of zone blitzes. So if you're going to be running a lot of zone blitzes, guess what you need? You need a bunch of linebackers that able, and edge guys that's able to run, able to cover. So what's going to happen? I'm going to need assets. I'm going to need money. I'm going to need draft picks to constantly bring these guys in. I'm going to need these guys. I'm going to constantly need to bring in assets, bring in, whether it's money and draft picks. I'm going to need to bring these guys in for a certain amount of time. So like I said, for me, I don't personally believe in drafting, assigning all the top guys. So for me, I say let Mooney walk. If Michael Penix is that guy, I say if Kyle Pitts is looking for top dollar as far as the tight end position is concerned, I say trade him, because what I could do, trade him away. I don't have to give him $15-20 million away. I can draft a young wide receiver to pair with Kyle Pitts, to pair with Michael Penix. I say let Darnell Mooney walk. Figure out what Kyle Pitts wants. If he's going to be here for the Atlanta Falcons, he's going to be a vital part, or does he want to be a vital part, or does he just want to be a part of the Atlanta Falcons and him, pay him $12 to $15 million at the tight end position? Be cool with that. But I don't believe that we should just focus on getting, building around set players. So basically, we played London and Bergeron, let Pitts, Bijan walk, and let Jalen Walker play out their rookie contract and pay the ones that make the biggest impact. No, I didn't say no. What I'm saying is you got to pick out. All right, so let me break this down this smaller. So if you got the quarterback, and we know the quarterback likes to throw, let's just say Michael Penix. I'll say Dak Prescott in this set, because Dak Prescott is a guy that likes to check the ball down for the most part. So if you got a quarterback that likes to check the ball down like Dak Prescott, he like to check the ball down, throw a lot of slants, and he just eats up the middle of the field. Well, I know that a guy like Dak Prescott, he only really likes to throw the ball to his tight ends. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to have 2 to 3 tight ends that have the ability to catch the ball. And these guys are receiving tight ends. There's no need for me to draft or bring in a blocking tight end if my quarterback, his strengths are to throw the ball to tight ends. So I'm going to have a long line of receiving tight ends, because I know my quarterback likes to throw the ball in the middle of the field. I know that he likes to throw the ball to tight ends. So I'm going to have a long list of tight ends. So if one tight end after 4 years of his contract or 5 years of his contract, if we, sign him to that 5th-year option, and he asks for an outrageous number, I let him walk, or I trade him away Why? Because I got another guy right behind him, and it's a system. That way you always have the quarterback's best interest at heart because you know what his tendencies are. He likes to throw the ball to the tight end. He likes to throw the ball to slot receivers, or he likes to throw the ball to the boundaries. You have a long list of players for that particular strength of a quarterback. So if it's Michael Penix in this instance and he likes to throw the ball to the sidelines and he likes to throw the ball deep, guess what? I'm gonna have a bunch of wide receivers that have that ability to catch the ball not only on the sideline, but they can get deep. So I don't have to pay these guys top dollar. I don't have to pay these guys top dollar because I already got their replacement behind them. So if a Bijan Robinson end up having a big time, if he end up having a big year, and Bijan doesn't want to play ball, it's not going to affect the offense as much because I already have a replacement behind Bijan Robinson that does exactly what he does, and the organization, they're not forced to conform to these players. I think a lot of teams, especially look at Cincinnati, they're forced to conform to what their players doing because they haven't done a great job of putting pieces or adding pieces to what the quarterback does. This is why you end up with guys like Chase, Jamar Chase with big, and then T. Higgins with big contracts. Because after those two guys, they really got nothing at all. They got nothing at all. So that's why I don't believe in. That's why I don't believe in paying everybody 2, 3 guys, 4 guys, top dollar. Nah, I don't believe in that because if that's the case, that tells me that you're not doing a good job of bringing in and adding to what that particular quarterback loves to do. But Bijan Robinson clearly gonna be the focus because he like if you look at Bijan Robinson and what Michael Penix likes to do, Michael Penix like to get the ball out of his hand quickly. He will throw to his running backs. So Bijan Robinson fits in what he likes to do. If Bijan Robinson, for whatever reason, he started to decline, he can still catch the ball out of the backfield. So he's still a part of what that quarterback likes to do. It's all about finding what the quarterback does well and adding players around that. So if any one of those guys, for whatever reason, either they get injured or they end up, wanting more money, you can just say, all right, bye. I already got a replacement for you because you're adding to what their quarterback. So that's the thing with a guy like Bijan Robinson or Michael Penix and a quarterback. You got to be able to figure out what the quarterback does and add talent according to what he does. And that's what, if you look at the Philadelphia Eagles, that's what they do well. They just adding Jalen Hurts is not one on quarterback that can throw the ball 40, 50 times a game without throwing 2 interceptions. He going to throw interceptions if you ask him to do that. So what did Philadelphia do? They slowed it down. They ran the ball, and they allowed him to check the ball down, run the RPOs, and do the bare minimum. That's what they asked him to do. But they added the pieces around him so Jalen Hurts is not forced to be, the end-all be-all to that offense. I love the team building. That's smart, Mike. I love the team building part of the game. More general managers should build this way. Have 4 or 5 players making $30 million. You can't build a team that way. Just want it. Yeah, and like I said, man, I think that's what a lot of organizations finally start to see that because the contracts of these quarterbacks and wide receivers is going up. So, in my opinion, what's going to happen? It's forcing teams to go back to the old way of building teams because the quarterback is making so much money. So what happens is when you do get a CD Lamb, a George Pickens, a Drake London, all these top wide receivers, Jamar Chase, Higgins, and all these guys, when they're making their money, you can give them they $30 million, but they only getting $30 million for the first 2 years. And then after they've gotten paid and you've given them 30 million, I can start the process of replacing those guys once that $30 million run out. You're going to start seeing a lot of these players get that $30 million contract, but after that guaranteed money is gone, their asses are gone. And it's often the first 2 years. And this is what Saquon Barkley is talking about right now. He just got his guaranteed money. And guess what he said? He said, yeah, I can see myself retiring in, a year or two. Why? It's because he already got his Super Bowl ring, he got his numbers, and he got paid. So once that payday is done, he got nothing more. He got nothing else to say. He got nothing else to do. So, like I said, I personally believe in having a system of development and figuring out, like, again, what this quarterback does and build toward that strength. So if anybody get out of hand, I got 2-3 other guys. I got 2-3 other guys and 2-3 other players that can add to that. Curry Stone, what's going on? It's even happening in the NBA. Teams starting to realize having a deep roster is more important than multiple. Yeah, that's what OKC, Indiana, obviously when they won the game last night, like I said, teams understand that depth is where it is. Like, you can have superstar players, but like the current atmosphere of not only NFL, the NBA is depth, man. Like, depth. I don't think, like I said, paying 2-3 guys over all those 2-3 guys got $100 million contracts, and everybody else a bunch of scrubs, so to speak. Like, nah, man, like those days of those LeBron James and Miami teams and super teams, I think that is done, to be honest, in the NBA. And no, I don't think it should continue. I don't think it's going to continue. I think he's going to get right back to having complete rosters, deep rosters, not only in the NFL, but like I said, the NBA. You just have a long list of players that has a skill set, and you build the defense around that skill set, or you build that offense around that particular skill set. But like you got having a Julio Jones and Antonio Brown on one side, on the other side, and then in the middle of the field, you got a Tony Gonzalez in the middle. You're not going to see that in the NFL, in my opinion, anymore. Like, at least not anything past 2 years. You're not going to see those guys together. You may see these guys together for 1 year, 2 years at the max. I think that's done in the NFL. A lot of teams are going to the fact, I mean, you can see it with the Atlanta Falcons right now, with Xavier Watts. They got Helms. They got obviously Jesse Bates. They got a lot of guys that can play in that slot position at corner. I think we see that. You see the Falcons got a number of wide receivers, the Nick Nashes, the Washington. You got a lot of guys that able, Ray McLeod, all these guys had the ability to play in the slot. Like, you got a long list of guys that's able to do certain things. So if a player doesn't want to play ball, you already got his replacement. And I think that's what the Atlanta Falcons are doing. And again, I'm gonna just say this: if Jesse Bates decides he doesn't want to play ball, the Falcons already got Jalen Walker and James Pierce Jr. And then you got a Braylon Trice, you got a young Ebiketie. They got a lot of pieces up front. So if, for whatever reason, Jesse Bates think, hey man, I want a $40 million contract, and the Falcons like, nah, bro, you tripping. We built our defensive line. Our defensive line has, gotten better. We got a young Xavier Watts. We think he could replace you. Like, the Falcons are not forced to play Jesse Bates. And I think that's the thing that an organization should always put themselves in a position where they're not forced to give anybody shit. And that goes back to what happened with the Atlanta Falcons. The Atlanta Falcons put themselves in position for a guy like Julio Jones, and I don't give a shit what y'all think. The Falcons put themselves in position for Julio Jones to use them and abuse them. because they needed Matt Ryan and they needed Julio, and Julio knew it. He knew it. One of the biggest mistakes wasn't even that. One of the biggest mistakes the Atlanta Falcons made that essentially got us to this point, I'm gonna say it right now. And it's probably not who y'all thinking. One of the biggest mistakes the Atlanta Falcons made was two moves. One of them is paying Robert Alford. They should have never given him that, especially when you already had a Desmond Trufant right there. One of the things I always say, pay one corner, but have a system in place where you already have a replacement for that number two. And I think the Atlanta Falcons made a horrible decision by signing Robert Alford. That money could have been used, they could have put that money towards a draft pick and bring in a younger guy to replace him. But you gave this man, what, $20 million, $30 million for a backup position? That money could have easily been to somebody else. So I think that was one of the worst decisions that the Atlanta Falcons made that kind of, fucked up the team, to be honest. 18-19, and we're seeing the effect of that. But the biggest mistake the Atlanta Falcons is giving Devontae Freeman. You never give Devontae Freeman. If he's not the best running back in the NFL, why are you giving him $25 million? Okay? You could have gave Tevin Coleman. You got Tevin Coleman, a viable backup. All the Falcons needed to do in that position was draft a young running back to come in, take his place, and let Tevin Coleman be the lead back until that guy's ready. They shouldn't have, especially if you got Matt Ryan at the helm. You got Julio. You didn't need to give Devontae Freeman no damn $20 million, $30 million. You could easily give him create a guy his backup. We see that now with Tyler Algier and Bijan Robinson. You can bring in multiple running backs in to be a quality running back. We see the Falcons' ability to do that. So that deal with Devontae Freeman is what really killed. I don't care what nobody say. They can sit up here talking about Muhammad Sanu and all that type of stuff. But the two countries that really ruined and destroyed this Atlanta Falcons team from the Super Bowl up to now is giving Robert Alford that money and giving Devontae Freeman. There's no reason why the Falcons, they were not in a position where they needed Devontae Freeman. They wanted him. And I think that was all Thomas Dimitroff. And I think one of the things, if you're going to say anything bad about Arthur Blank, is that oftentimes, can he get a little bit too close to a lot of these players? Yeah, he can. He's a nice guy. So he can get a little too close to guys instead of being a businessman at times. And I think he's learning that. I think the Atlanta Falcons are learning that now, especially what we're seeing with Kirk Cousins. Like, they've been a complete jackass to Kirk Cousins, but look, we don't need you. We got a plan. We got Michael Penix. I don't need you. So Devontae Freeman, I think that was the worst. And that was like almost $50 million. That's about $40 million right there. And two players that you gave money away. You got Matt Ryan. You got Julio Jones. You didn't need to give Devontae Freeman that big old contract. But you wanted to be nice and cool and show respect to players. Sometimes you can't show, quote unquote, respect to people. Like, you just got to be real about it. You're not as valuable to this team as you think you are. I appreciate your contribution, but you let the Saints, the Bucks, the Jets, the Ravens give you your money. But we appreciate it. Goodbye. Signed Devontae Freeman and Robert Alford was one of the dumbest things that they did. Those two moves, I don't know what the fuck Thomas Dimitroff was thinking. He wanted to create a super team of offense, a super offense. So, like I said, Ghost Pepper, he said Arthur Blank rolled Vic to the Vic to the sidelines in a wheelchair. He cares way too much about these players, and a lot of times we got these selfish ass people like the Quinteros of the world. They will use your kindness against you. That man knew exactly what he doing when he took that money from Arthur Blank. He knew what he was doing. Y'all can sit up here and try to say, oh, but he's a rich man. He's not going to hurt. Of course, man. Look, y'all have no fucking idea what it is to keep up not only with the Mercedes-Benz Stadium, Flowery Branch, your own personal affairs, all that type of stuff. Like, you ain't even seen the bills this motherfucker pay. Have you ever seen a goddamn $10,000 light bill? Probably not. Probably not. Have you ever seen a $100,000 light bill? Hell no, probably not. I know I haven't. So don't try to put yourself in Arthur Blank said, oh, paying Julio Jones $100 million ain't gonna hurt him. Say fucking who? Who the hell? Who said who? It forced the Falcons to wait. It forced the Falcons to wait a year for Matt Ryan contract. Went from $22 million to $30 million. That's the shit I'm talking about. You forced their hands. You forced their hands by doing that. Now the Atlanta Falcons got to get in the habit of doing things the right way. And the right way is business way. The right way is stop caring about all these people as far as them being, Falcons for life. Like, you're going to have to show me. You're going to have to work with the organization. And I'm not obligated because you caught 150 passes in a fucking year to care about you. I got to care about the team and what's good for the team overall. But we got the Quinteros that get in their fucking feelings and say, I'm a hold on, I don't have any guaranteed money. And frown and say, I'm not showing up to camp because I'm not getting my money. Bitch made. Matt Ryan, did you see him do that? Did you see Jake Matthews holding out? Did you see Grady Jarrett holding out? But no, that Quinteros did. But y'all still dangling from his hairs of his jock straps. Like, we put these players because we like them and we admire what they've done. We put these players on a pedestal and thinking because, oh, you're Julio Jones and you're special, I need to care about every aspect. And this is a fucking problem that I got too. We gonna speak on this tonight on the end games. We got some interesting topics on the end game tonight, but it forces the team to do certain things when we got these players that don't want to play ball because they just want their money. One thing I would say about Tom Brady, y'all probably heard me say this before. One thing I do admire about Tom Brady is that he didn't force the Patriots to pay him $50 million a year. He was fine. He was like, look, bro, just give me the weapons, give me things what I need, and I'll take this $35 million, $30 million a year. He did that every fucking year. Every year. You never heard about Tom Brady and the Patriots complaining about money. Never heard them complaining about money. But guess what? We got guys and these wide receivers holding out because of that. That's why Julio felt entitled to have a conversation instead of staying in his lane as an employee. And that's what people don't get. See, this is people, and a lot of these fans, they favoritism because they get favoritism in their own personal life. Motherfucker, I drafted you to be a receiver. I don't give a fuck how many Pro Bowls that you make. You should never be entitled or feel entitled enough to say, hey, I think we should sign this person. Why? That's the general manager's job, is to bring in talent. It's not your fucking job, Julio. It's not your job, Muhammad Sanu or Grady Jarrett, to tell the general manager who they should sign. Stay in your motherfucking place and catch the goddamn football. Y'all want motherfuckers to catch the football, talk back to the quarterback, talk back to the head coach, talk back to the damn offensive coordinator, be the general manager and bring their friends in from their colleges and all this other shit. Because he's Julio Jones. Because he's Mike Vick. Because he's Matt Ryan. That's what y'all want. Y'all want to pull this punk ass bullshit that we see from goddamn LeBron James. LeBron James is the reason why we in this bullshit right now. We seeing all this fuck ass shit from these fucking players. Because his selfish, stinking ass. That's why we're seeing this shit right now, because this punk bitch at LeBron James whining and crying because he don't have three of the best players in the fucking universe on the fucking team. And think he need to be the player, he need to be the head coach, he need to be the GM, and the GM just need to be there to listen to all his fucking ideas. That entitled ass bullshit. Now, one time, have you heard Magic Johnson got in an argument with a motherfucking that motherfucking GM because he wanted to sign this guy? No, he stayed in his place. Hayes, the rookie that they brought in and they drafted, and that's it. But we got all these fucking players that think they need to be hiring the head coach, hiring the goddamn general manager, hiring the goddamn team president, cussing out the owner because I'm Julio Jones and I'm LeBron James. Y'all don't hear none of this shit from Steph Curry saying Steph Curry demanded that even his brother, Klay Thompson, you didn't hear him get out of place. You didn't hear Steph Curry get out of place saying, man, no, man, y'all need to re-sign my boy, else I'm going to hold up. You didn't hear none of that shit. Stay in your motherfucking place. Do your motherfucking job. Shut the fuck up and bounce a motherfucking basketball. Shut the fuck up and play goddamn catch on the sideline. I didn't ask your ass to goddamn draft the fucking first round pick. I didn't ask your ass to sign a motherfucking contract. I didn't ask your ass to sign this person and sign that person. But you some bitches think because he's a fucking 4-time, 5-time, 6-time Pro Bowler that he deserves all the motherfucking, he deserves all the accolades and all the power because he fucking Julio Jones. Get the fuck out of here. Aaron Rodgers thought the same bullshit and get what the fuck that did. It got his ass ran out of goddamn Green Bay. And look at him, tumbling down the goddamn rabbit hole. Because you motherfuckers think because he Julio Jones that he need to be in on hiring the goddamn head coach. Get the fuck out of here with that bullshit. You entitled motherfuckers. And I don't give a shit who goddamn remix this motherfucking message or relive it or rehash it or whatever. All y'all can kiss my ass if you think every player in the fucking universe deserves to be a head coach, general manager, and wide receiver, quarterback, running back because you a motherfucking Hall of Fame. Stay in your motherfucking place and run the goddamn football. Do your damn job. Stop worrying about everybody else's job and what they not doing. Do your fucking job. If everybody did their job, the Atlanta Falcons would be a better team. We would have a fucking core. We would have a fucking championship. But no, nobody want to goddamn stay in their motherfucking place. They want to put dresses on. They want to put tights on. They want to do whatever the fuck they want to do because they feel they entitled. Oh, I'm Julio Jones. I just want my voice heard. Man, ain't nobody asked you. Catch the goddamn football and shut up. That's why we seeing all these goddamn head coaches. These motherfuckers are winning championships, y'all. We got these goddamn head coaches winning fucking NBA championships. Getting their team to the playoffs, and then after a year or two, these motherfuckers are fired. This man Thibodeau done got the damn Knicks to it. They went to the fucking the Eastern Conference Final, and this motherfucker fired. These motherfuckers been trash for the last 20 years, and they got some nerd to say Thibodeau ain't good enough. That entitled bullshit we talking about right now. Who the fuck are you in the Knicks to say somebody ain't good enough? Entitled some bitches. That's what y'all are. Got some motherfucking nerd to talk about Julio Jones deserve it. And you can kiss my motherfucking ass if you don't like this shit. Motherfuckers up here catching 100 balls about, but because he catch a fucking 100 yards and have 300 yards in that motherfucking game, you deserve to tell the general manager that Julio said, I don't want him. Man, shut the fuck up. And really, that's what the fuck happened. The owner said, yeah, this nigga getting out of line. You got to go. Now he trying to tell me what to do. That's the first sign. I feel like I just wanted to be heard. Nigga, shut up and catch the ball. I wish a motherfucker would knock on my damn door and say, Mike, I don't think you should do Falcons content anymore. Boy, I was sweet chin music that motherfucker down these stairs so quick. Mike, I don't think you should drink. I don't think you should eat tacos anymore, Mike. You know how fast that motherfucker would get? Look, I will hit that motherfucker so quick with a burrito. Telling me I can't have my motherfucking tacos? You got some motherfucking nerve. Sam Mitchell got fired right after winning Coach of the Year. This is what we talk about. All these players are running the asylum, and it's a major fucking problem. It's a major problem. It's because y'all tell these players that they Jesus, that they Moses, that they all these prophets. Why? Because you like them. Because you like them. Does that mean that I don't respect the fact that Julio Jones is the greatest wide receiver in Falcons history? No. I respect his game. He's clearly the greatest wide receiver in Falcons history. But stay in your motherfucking place. Players or coaches out here getting fucking fired because somebody got in their attitude. Somebody said something about your punk ass not playing enough. Why you think Luka got the fuck up out of Dallas? That some bitch up here drinking like he ain't got no goddamn job. He's sitting on the couch drinking and playing basketball. Motherfucker ain't working out or nothing. And then y'all sitting up here surprised that he got traded. Dallas got tired of the bullshit. It ain't a fucking, this is not rocket science. Okay, this ain't the NBA colluding against the area of the team and trading LeBron to Dallas. Dallas got tired of Luka not doing his job and thinking he was gonna run the organization. Y'all can sit up here and beat around the bush, but I see it clearly. So, at the end of the day, the message is stay in your place. Do your job. That's it. Speak when spoken to. Some of y'all 3-year-olds run your whole motherfucking life because they cry and whine and bitch and complain. Y'all give them everything that they want. I want my baby to have everything. I want my baby to have Gucci everything. And then that motherfucker end up robbing banks and beating the shit out of people at school because they entitled because somebody said no to them. All right, look. I'm getting out of hand. I know y'all gonna go crying and whining and leave me goddamn 35 messages. Mike, I disagree with you. I'm glad you do. Okay? Caught on camera after the Western Company finally drinking the brew. Look, bro. Look, that man with 200, that man with there 270. You're supposed to be a basketball player. You should always be in shape. There's no reason why Luka should not be in shape getting paid the money he getting paid. But that's a whole nother thing. And that's all I got to say about that. Y'all join us tonight for the end games. I believe it's going to be the same time, 9 p.m. So when we said it, y'all hit that subscribe button. We got 3 away, okay? We got 3 away to get our boy 1 to 200. So 3 subscribers away to Mr. Tactician. Check it out. Like I said, truly appreciate everybody for continuously supporting your boy, Mad Mike. And that's the bottom line because Mad Mike said so. Peace.